Hey everybody, welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.fun.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
There you go.
I'm Dan McCoy, a guest.
I'm Stuart Wellington of the Flophouse Podcast.
I'm Eliot Kalin of the Flophouse Podcast, and yes, I did come in second on Jeopardy once. I don't know how you knew.
It should say, ask me about Jeopardy or something.
Ask me about my losing Jeopardy game.
That's on the back of the hat.
Right. I lost, in parentheses.
Yeah.
I lost on Jeopardy.
Finally lived a Weird Al song after all this time. I thought it would be Slime Creatures from Outer Space, but nope, because I lost on Jeopardy.
No.
Well, today, you know who's in Jeopardy? Luke Skywalker.
Classic.
Whoa, professional.
Right? We're in minute 132 of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. 132 starts with Hux saying, well, if we're ready to get moving, we can finish this. Wait, something like that. If we're ready to get moving, we can finish this. And at the end, it ends with Kylo Ren getting moving, so he can finish this. There you go.
But maybe not in the way that Hux intended.
Probably not.
His expectations totally undermined.
Exactly.
This is like a chapter in a George R.R. Martin novel. At the beginning of the chapter, the hero's
I'm
like,
listening.
At so many of his chapters, the hero's like, this is my plan, and then by the end of the chapter, that plan is now impossible.
Do not state your plan in a Game of Thrones book.
No, don't even think it.
Yeah.
Well, we spent some time yesterday talking about kind of Star Wars cliches, and we get one here that is not strictly a Star Wars cliche, but it's something that I feel like Star Wars always uses well, and that is character emerging from smoke, revealed from a cloud of smoke or fog. And we've seen it earlier in this movie even, and it just happens every once in a while, and it's usually good.
Yeah, but they don't normally, as Luke does here, do a little casual, cool dusting off the shoulder.
Oh, man, he's just stunting on him, right?
I'm not. I have to admit, this is me being a jerk. I am not a fan of that little flex of like fake knocking the dust off.
I love it.
I feel like at its best, Star Wars has a mix of like kind of goofy silliness and these kind of high, almost ludicrously operatic moments of space drama, and this it kind of like undercuts the space drama just a little bit too much for me.
Well, I like that. I don't mind that it's a little undercut. I like Luke's kind of bravado there, and he knows who's riling up Kylo Ren. He's Kylo riling, and
he's riling Kyling. Yeah,
I don't look at it. Yeah, I think I like it because I don't look at it just as like he's being cool. He's also like deliberately trying to make Kylo Ren even angrier.
Right.
I guess it's such a colloquial thing, like such a colloquial modern thing, and I guess that's what throws me off. It's like the only thing worse was if he had done the like two fingers at his eyes, two fingers at Kylo's eyes, like I'm watching you type thing.
He did the John Cena, you can't see me.
He did the Triple H suck it, just thrust.
Again, my response to that is like, yes, it is something that is a modern thing, but it's not. But it also like would apply if like he was in a cloud of dust. Like it's not like he emerged from the cloud of dust like flossing or something. Like it makes sense within the context of what's happening as well. Like
so Elliot's just saying that if he plays a video game, he doesn't like anybody on his team before the match starts to like run around and goof around. They're here for war. They have to stay put until the match starts and then go and battle.
Business.
Look, only if it's a minute 132 of the match. I'm like, let's just finish this, guys. Let's not add the filigrees. But Dan, you raised an interesting question, which is how do you think they take care of their teeth in the Star Wars universe? We don't see any toothbrushes. We don't see any floss.
Oh, that's good. I mean, like sticks. It's a long time ago.
I guess,
the band sticks. They hire the band
death sticks, so they might as well have tooth decay sticks.
I think George Lucas said that once upon a time, Jedi's just they just magicked their tooth plaque off their teeth, so they're fine, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, most of the universe is not Jedis, since as the next movie will show, only two families get to be Jedis. But,
right? What?
Well, they can be lower level Force users, so you can be like a Force dentist. That's the people come in and you just go like concentrate a little bit, get all the plaque and detritus.
But if you mess it up, that's a whole mouth of teeth ripped out. Your jigsaw then.
Yeah.
I like that's dental school is important because they practice on dummies and stuff, and they're just like, there's
dummies like Jar Jar. Oh.
Hey, oh.
Do you guys remember having any? Because we've been saying all along that this movie has like 15% too many jokes, but no one can agree on what the 15% is. So, do you guys recall having any other feelings about any of the other like jokey, like Hux, the whole like you're making jokes about Hux's mom and that stuff? Do you guys remember any ones that?
Wait, somebody makes jokes about Hux's mom, my favorite character.
Doesn't it open with Poe teasing?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There's like the prank call.
Yeah,
no, I love that. I don't think it has 15% too many. I mean, I know you're not talking about something that we said, but I don't find.
You think it needs more jokes?
No,
Dan thinks
but
it needs 800% more jokes.
I mean,
and it should be called Spaceballs.
I usually am pro more jokes. Like if I see like a movie without any jokes, I'm like, what? Where are the jokes? But I don't. I mean, like part of it is like I don't find that the jokes in this undercut the movie in a bad way. Like there are things that are deliberately intended to undercut Star Wars. Like I think that opening the movie as it does with like Poe pretending not to be able to hear Hux over the phone, like is an undercutting I enjoy because like that is so deliberately like, okay, like here's this big dramatic face off, like we're gonna mess around a little bit, guys. We're gonna mess around more than you're used to seeing in a Star Wars, and like we can do it because all the other Star Wars movies have given a basis so that this is surprising, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would the subtitle of the 8th Spaceballs movie be?
It would be like Spaceballs. They made 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an okay first pass. I like it.
I mean, it's right off the top of my head. It's hard for me to. But I think
which is interesting because you're wearing a hat that covers the top of your head.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's why it's hard for the jokes to get out, and only the weakest ones can crawl out from underneath the brim. The strong ones are
Jeopardy
stuck in
hat.
there.
Just it filters out just facts, hard facts.
Yeah, only facts. I think
Facts, yeah.
to be honest, again, I love this movie. This is my third favorite of all the movies, I think, but at the same time, I do feel at times there are not too many jokes, but the jokes feel like written jokes. They don't feel like character jokes necessarily. And like you're talking about that Poe scene on the radio, it reminds me of the scene with Han in the first movie where he has to fake a conversation as a stormtrooper, and it's very funny because he clearly has no idea what he's doing. And then when he shoots, it's this boring conversation anyway. He's just kind of like muttering it to himself. It's an action hero aside, but it's after we have seen him fluster so bad. Oh, we're okay. We're fine. Yeah, how are you? And he's doing a bad job. Whereas with some of the jokes in this one, they do feel kind of like written jokes as opposed to moment jokes, which is okay, but for me, it does fight the kind of long time ago, galaxy far, far away tone for them to be such American comedy movie type jokes in the same way that C-3PO, slipping in Ronto poop or whatever, that kind of stuff rubs me the wrong way with these movies, or maybe I guess it's Jar Jar Binks, I think, steps in animal poop and is like, what, but
right.
I don't want to put you on the spot because I know that I'm terrible at coming up with examples, so if you don't have one, that's fine. But is there like a written joke that you can think of that, like, other than the Poe, like that one doesn't, like to me that doesn't play that way. But like, is there like something you're thinking of?
No, I mean I don't remember the individual jokes well enough in the movie. If you want, when I get around to watching this with my son, which will be in about a year,
since
we're watching
annotations.
We're watching, I guess it'll be about a year and a half because we're watching the movies, a new one every 6 months is when he turned 5, we watched A New Hope, and I said, I want these to be special. We're not going to binge these. Like every 6, and also the movies get more and more violent as they go on to the point where I want him to be at least 10 when we watch The Rise of Skywalker, because at that point they're just committing war crimes left and right because they're killing kidnapped child soldiers with enormous explosions. That's the movie where I realized, I don't remember if I talked about this in a previous Star Wars minute. That's the movie where I realized that the bad guys, the Empire or the First Order, they always go halt before they shoot, but the rebels just blast away at people's backs, and things like that. They're all snipers.
Didn't even tell me to halt.
Yeah, but
give me a chance.
But there's what was I going to say? Oh, we're in the middle of episode 2 right now, so it's going to take us a while to get to Last Jedi. But when we do, and he's
hearing the good stuff,
and he's loving it. We make like a little event out of it. It's once every 6 months, so on his birthday and half birthday, and he gets to stay up late. I drink a soda, and he gets one sip of soda, and which he looks forward to for months. And then because
you keep a sip of soda just like on a shelf for months.
It's the same can. It's the same can for all the Star Wars movies. It's a little flat by this point, but it's special. It's tradition. It's like a wedding cake you keep in the freezer. And
episode 1 Pepsi cans from like 1999, preserved for all this time.
It's a Cibola Pepsi can, and
man, tastes so good.
And I think, and I'm trying to build in him not necessarily like this, like worship of Star Wars, but like this feeling like, oh, these are special things. I don't want to just like race through them, and I can really think about them in between. But anyway, when I watch the movie with him, I'll note the jokes that I think are a little too jokey. I think it's in all the new movies, and also that it's just the style of movies now is they have what feel like more punched up jokes than in the older movies,
Right.
I feel like by the time of Spaceballs 8, each Spaceballs sequel would more or less be a parody of like a different science fiction movie. You know what I mean? Because they would have run out of Star Wars jokes, so it'll be a Star Trek movie. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Be turned into a kind of.
I mean, to be honest, that would be if you had. I mean, that's essentially what Ready Player One is, right? Is you just have we're just going to bring in as much stuff as possible. So by that point, it's like Spaceballs, but there's Back to the Future stuff in it, and there's like. There's Fast and the Furious stuff, but they're in space. Like I could totally see Mel Brooks doing that. Let me get Mel on the phone and see if he could do that. Or like that new Space Jam where they have like every Warner Brothers character that's ever like I think they go to Rick's Cafe and meet the Clockwork Orange guys there. Like it's Bugs Bunny. Like can't wait for that movie to come out. It's going to be really nuts.
Well, this back in the minute here, I had teased that this was a moment where it became obvious to me that it was like, wait a minute, they're just wasting time. And because here's where we see Finn kind of dragged Rose back from her crash earlier. She crashed into his ship. I don't know if you guys remember. Crashed into his ship, into Finn's ship to knock him out of a pointless suicide mission. Yeah. And then in doing so, she injured herself and he drags her back in. But he drags her through the giant hole that they blew in the door, and they could easily just, like, Kylo Ren could be like, all right, I'm going to fight this guy here. You guys all run into that hole and kill all the rebels. But they are still in this, like, all right, everybody wait here while we do this dramatic showdown.
He wants an audience. He wants everyone to watch him beat this dude up.
Right.
Well, and for Kylo Ren right now, there are no other people in the universe. This is the scene. This is the dance scene from West Side Story where he sees Maria for the first time and everyone disappears. Like for Kylo, it's just him and Luke. They're the only two people. He can't even remember why they're on this mission. He doesn't know. And to be honest, you have to ask yourself: is this his ultimate goal? Is just to get revenge on Luke? Is this the only reason he's done this? Does he care what happens to the First Order or the universe after this? At this moment, I don't know. He might just be he's so wrapped up in that. But you're right. In the Hux should be like, hey, you fight Luke and we'll go do the rest of it. Instead of Hux saying like, knock it off and then getting force thrown against a wall, which is, he's in a mood. Why are you poking him?
But that's Hux's thing. Like he's kind of an idiot. That's what I like about him. Like, of course he's going to make the wrong choice.
Although it's the right choice, but he starts to make the right choice and then gets shot down in a sense. But he's not, I don't know. Is he wrong?
There's also the thing about Kylo Ren that, like, makes him so interesting as a bad guy. He's like he's the inferiority complex villain, where he's just like, he's making really dumb choices overall just because he wants to, like, he has tunnel vision about the thing that makes him angry. It's his various
something we can all identify with.
Things. Yeah.
We are all Kylo Ren, and we are all Hux. Inside you, there are 2 First Order officers.
They're fighting two bears that are also inside you.
Oh man, what a movie that would be!
3 different types of
Terminators. I forgot about all those Terminators. That Mama, or whatever her name is, Giga. I forgot what he calls her, but.
I do like the joke.
Sorry, that's for Hillbilly Elegy Minute that we were talking about the 3 Terminators inside of every person.
Right.
I do like the joke where he says, land the ship right now, and then Hux is like, no, we have to do this, and then he hurls him, and then the officer just the pilot just goes, right away, sir. Like he doesn't, he knows not to argue with.
And I can't put my finger on why, but that feels like a Star Wars joke to me, even though it's also clearly a written joke. They didn't ad-lib a force throw, in the movie. But that feels like a character in the moment joke as opposed to the brushing off the robe. It feels like Luke was like, when the smoke clears, I gotta brush off my shoulder, and it's gonna make him so mad, but it's gonna be kind of funny. I hope someone's recording this. Like, put it up on World Star. Come on, let's do this.
World Star.
I think he was like, oh my gosh, look how filthy my shoulder is. And then he was brushing it off just when it cleared. And Kylo took it the wrong way.
Yeah, it's all about spin. Yeah, it's like, like, look, embarrassing moment as Jedi, emerges from getting blasted. And like, so some outlets would post that clip and be like, oh, it's so embarrassing. Luke had a wardrobe malfunction as he got, debris on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But,
dandruff.
Yeah.
This is some... Oh, sorry. You say what you're going to say, and then I'll say mine another time.
Okay. Well, is Luke's thing there? Isn't that is goading your opponent by getting them angrier? Is that a Jedi thing? That seems like a very un-Jedi thing to be doing. Like it's almost like the Emperor being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, your fleet is going to be lost." Like sarcasm just doesn't seem like it fits with the Jedi.
Well, I think the thing that this movie has set up, which a lot of fans did not like, but which I liked, is that Luke is not a very good Jedi. Like it does not come naturally to him. Like he struggles with it. It's hard for him to resist the temptations to be a human being rather than a Jedi. And so like this is a moment where the fact that, as we'll find out in a later minute, I don't think we cover it in this batch, but that we might be talking about, that this is all a trick anyway, which is not really like a Jedi thing to do. It's very dishonorable. That Luke is kind of like although I guess Yoda tricks the heck out of Luke when they first meet, and it's like, whereas you think Eliot would be like, I'm Yoda, let's start this in a position of trust and honesty, okay, but
and Obi-Wan flat out lies to everybody multiple times. So.
Yeah, I'm like, Yoda's like, I'm very famous, I was a major galactic political figure, you could probably find a picture of me if you looked for it, but I guess you didn't, so yeah, I gotta pretend I'm just some frogman.
That I've always been sort of this hermit, wise man, holy fool living in the wilderness, but no, turns out I had quite a life before.
I had a floating chair. I had an office. I had a staff. I had business cards. Yes, but I gave it all away because I wanted to get back to nature and live in this swamp, as only rich people can do. But I think,
and he pulls all that stuff with Luke only to eventually just get sick of Luke asking him questions, get in bed, and die.
It's the only way I can get out of here. This relationship.
But I think that the question though is, how is Luke such a good Jedi, considering he's had like 4 days of training, to be honest. Like Obi-Wan taught him for about a day, and Yoda taught him for maybe a couple days, and yet he has somehow managed to persevere and survive in this way and reach a level of Jedi wisdom that through him by himself that he shouldn't have been able to. So it's like, I think that people didn't like the idea of Luke not being Obi-Wan, basically, like not being this amazing wise sage. But I like him more as someone who has had to push his own way and struggles and often is not doing the thing that a Jedi is supposed to do. But again, like, the Jedi is never supposed to strike first, but then we see Obi-Wan chop a guy's arm off when he just shoves Luke slightly. So, it's, all the Jedis don't. The Jedi rule book is a little bit loose. It's
technically he struck first by pushing me, so
that's true. But it really feels like it's.
You saw him. He just shoved me. You saw that, right?
You saw he pushed my friend first. I was very justified in removing one of his arms. He'll never get it back.
And it was like, big man, no lightsabers, bud.
So, but I think it's okay. Like, as much as I think that particular move, I don't love it in the moment. I do now, thinking about it as part of Luke being an imperfect Jedi. I do like it.
That should have been the name of the film, The Imperfect Jedi.
The Imperfect. I mean, if it was called that, maybe fans would be like, "I get it now. I was prepared." Okay, I understand.
About the last Jedi. Turns out it was about an imperfect Jedi all along.
And I think a lot of people took the title literally. Where like the Last Jedi seems to be saying to me, the Jedi are not going to have a monopoly on the Force. Like, there won't be Jedi, but now it will be more people will get to be heroes. Whereas a lot of people took it literally as like, no more Jedi, but they're the heroes. Oh, boy. Oh, man, I don't like this. Somebody better rise in the next movie to become a Jedi again.
Yeah, I mean, like, part of the thing is, like, Luke, on his island has come to the not unreasonable conclusion. Like, hey, the Jedis have been mismanaging things pretty badly, so maybe I don't have to worry about like whether I'm gonna trick someone, whether that's an honorable or dishonorable thing. Like, Jedis have screwed this universe in their own way.
Yeah. I mean, I remember thinking like, Last Jedi, there's no more Jedis. Next one better be all Boba Fett's or I'm not watching it.
And you got what you wanted, kind of.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, full TV show. Just
Yum,
Boba
yum,
Fett's.
thank you.
Well, we were also talking about shouldn't this movie be over already? And I've been tracking as we go through, since this is the longest one that we've dealt with so far. I've been tracking where the other movies end, and you will all be happy to know that this is The Last Jedi in a different sense, because the original cut of Return of the Jedi ends in minute 132. So the closing credits, I think there's like 20 seconds of closing credits or something like that, minute 132 of the original cut of Return of the Jedi. So we're
still like, what, 4 or 5 weeks away from the credits?
From our end?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then you guys are going to do the closing credits also, which is like 8 more minutes of just names, you know.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks.
Curse those production babies.
But yeah, so that's we're a couple of the movies have finished already. We're inching towards all of them being done. Soon there will, just like Highlanders, there will only be one, and it'll be this. But
something I don't know. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I just want to bring it up in this minute because we get so much of Luke just looking in this minute. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I love Mark Hamill. He's great. I've loved him in lots of things. Luke Skywalker, great. Is Mark Hamill a better actor when he's not talking and he's just emoting silently? Because I find him very powerful in a way in this sequence and also the end of the last movie when he does not say anything, in a way that for some reason I don't always find when he's delivering dialogue. Is that just the way I'm thinking about the character, or is Mark Hamill like a better physical actor necessarily than he is a dialogue
I find
actor?
that strange because he has such a voice acting career. Maybe it's more
maybe when the voice is separated from the body, because he's great as the Joker, honestly, and his other voice things, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe when he's doing straight up voice acting, he feels more sort of empowered to go further with it. Like either he's got the subtlety of like the quiet stillness, or he's like going full bore, but you don't like the middle. Maybe, I don't know.
Possibly, and this is just a personal preference thing. This is not some kind of unified law of Mark Hamill, you know.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's a thing when. I like him so much in these movies when he's just kind of letting his presence act, and I don't know why it does it for me more than when he's like. I mean, maybe it's because so much of what he has to do in these the newer movies, at least, is exposition. You know, like he doesn't get a lot of character moments, but his character moments are silent when he's staring down Kylo Ren or when he's chugging that alien milk, you know, or whatever. You know,
yeah,
love it.
I was looking at what I think it's actually not during this week. I think as it's coming up, like once their showdown kind of culminates, we do get a lot of like real close up emoting moments from him and of two different kind of styles of Mark Hamill, of Luke Skywalker too. So it's an interesting. I think you're right there. It is good, and there is definitely drama there. But I don't know. I also hesitate to say that it's that much better because I also feel oddly protective of Mark Hamill's acting ability when it comes to Luke Skywalker, which is always.
Well, I think maybe it's just in the newer movie. I think in this one, as much as I love this movie, I don't think they give him a lot to do other than to talk to Rey. And in the third movie, he's just a ghost, and it annoys me that he's a ghost who can lift an X-wing fighter, but he doesn't decide to help the heroes with their big battle. Like I don't. That bothers me so much that it's like, well, if the Jedi can do that stuff as ghosts, and maybe he's only figured it out because he has this unorthodox Jedi style that he had to figure out himself, you know. But it just bugs me that it's like, oh, the Jedi's could have helped you the whole time, but we didn't. We're the Marvel's Eternals of the Star Wars universe, where we're super powerful and we're always here, but we don't do anything. But because I do like him in the older movies too, but there's something about he projects anguish and he projects like resolve so strongly just with his face. Maybe it's just that I find his face acting just really strong, and I just like it a lot. I don't know, but even in the old movies, there's times when him looking at those three suns setting in the first movie is so powerful to me, and he communicates so much just with the way he looks at it, you know. So I guess I'm saying that I think he's great. I don't know why I framed it as a negative in the beginning.
I bet before I know people are gonna say something, but it's two suns setting. And
oh, sorry, it's two suns setting.
Before we start getting angry tweets and emails and phone calls and
I should have remembered that
letter bombs
in the Star Wars counting book. I think they have that I have to read to my children all the time.
Technically, Eliot, he's the third son, the son of Darth Vader. Yeah,
yeah. So it is three sons. You're right.
Thank you.
And from a certain point of view.
He is setting in that he's getting ready to go to bed. So that's,
he's getting set.
But you're right, because three sons would be crazy. Two sons make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Fred McMurray.
On that note, the Fred McMurray note, can you guys come back tomorrow? I think we've got more stuff. This dramatic showdown continues into 1:33. I know it was lightning in a bottle getting you here twice, but if we can,
too much to ask.
We'll see. We'll see what we can do. If you guys, we'll be here tomorrow. If you guys can be here, hey, we'll treat it like a blessing. I already said everybody's going to yell at us about things. The easiest way to do that is on Twitter, where everybody's yelling at everything. We're at Star Wars Minute on Twitter and Instagram, where people aren't yelling as much. They're just showing each other pictures. We're at the Star Wars Minute. And go check us out in both of those places. Check us out back here tomorrow for a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Wars.